My name is Dan Vader, and I'm a designer at Capy Games.
Grindstone is Capy's take on a color matching puzzler. You know, match up all the blues or the reds or the greens kind of thing. Except we added blood, guts, burps, an arsenal of weapons and gear, bosses and strategy and tactics, and a soundtrack of straight bangers. Unlike other color matching puzzle games, Grindstone features these little nasty colorful monsters that we call creeps. When you match them up, they don't pop into points, they get eviscerated in like a shower of blood and gore. So you play as George, this hulking berserker type, and he's scaling Grindstone Mountain, killing his way in and out of its dangerous caverns. But George isn't on some epic quest or mission of vengeance, this is just his day job. George is kind of just like a working stiff. He punches in, does his job, and goes home to his family. Only his job is wall-to-wall slaughter and danger. The game is all about chains, so connect up as many of the same color of creep to create the longest chain you can. Make a big chain and you'll create a grindstone, the sparkling reward for all your blood-soaked effort. Create an even bigger chain, get an even bigger, juicier grindstone. But grindstones aren't just a reward and a resource. When they land on the board, you can actually use them to switch your chain from one color to a new color, creating an even longer and longer chain, which of course makes bigger and better grindstones. Now, if it looks like George is able to just chain his way through these colorful creeps like a hot knife through butter and not be in any danger, but it's not the case. After each player turn, some creeps will randomly go aggro, which means they can and will attack George if he just happens to end his chain beside one. And George only has 3 hearts in each level, so they can get pretty dangerous pretty fast. But it's not just creeps George has to worry about. There's also these guys we have called jerks, which are like tougher mini-boss enemies and each have unique attacks and abilities. These guys need longer chains to kill and definitely more planning and thought. So as if creeps and jerks wasn't enough danger and peril, there's also giant bosses to kill. And each of them, they put their own kind of spin on the basic chaining mechanic, and they challenge you to think about each move a little more carefully and use some strategy to clear them out. Besides good chains, a little strategy, and a little luck, what else is going to help George take down all these creeps and jerks and bosses? Gear. Grindstone has lots of gear. Hidden inside treasure chests throughout the game are these blueprints to craft weapons and potions and even outfits that each have a unique ability. You have a loadout where you can equip your chosen gear, sort of mixing and matching different pieces that can combine in really fun ways, sometimes unexpected ways. And so, as a result, you can sort of develop your own play style or strategy for how you like to deal with certain enemies or areas. And speaking of areas, Grindstone Mountain is big. It just goes on, and each area of the mountain is sort of crazier than the last. There's ice caves and boggy marshes with strangling vines, lava zones with rivers of magma, there's ancient tombs, and there's even a gross slaughterhouse with machines of death everywhere. There's also these things we call offshoots. They're sort of sub-caves where elements from different mountain biomes get remixed. I mean, all told, there's over 250 levels that span across the whole mountain. And if you want to take a break from grinding your way up a mountain, Grindstone has a daily competitive mode, which we call Daily Grind, where the challenge is to survive a random set of levels and rack up the most points in those levels to see where you end up on the leaderboards. Grindstone launched on Apple Arcade way back in the before times of 2019, and it got a great reception from players, which led us to try something we've never really done before as a studio, which is update our game as we go with more and more content, sort of filling out the experience until it's bursting at the seams with all of our ideas. And right from the start, we began planning how we could bring Grindstone to the Switch so that more players could experience this game that we were just really proud of. But then 2019 became 2020, and well, everything got a lot harder. Suddenly our studio's locked, we're all working at home and meeting on video calls. Time is somehow slower and faster, and as a team we're trying to build this ultimate version of the game and create a standalone, unique Switch version, all during a global pandemic. It's been kind of wild. The whole time we're building out new features for Grindstone, we're also creating the Switch version, and that made us evaluate each and every detail through that lens. Like, how is this going to work on the Switch? How will this look in widescreen versus portrait, and what needs to change to make it happen? How will the touch controls convert to sticks and buttons? We want to get the Switch version just right, so we put a lot of thought into it, and definitely had to create new stuff from scratch to make it happen. Right now, I think everyone's looking for silver linings, right? For some light to punch through the dark. For our team at Capy working on this port and expanding this game we truly love, I think it's really helped us by providing something to focus on, something to pour ourselves into at a time when it would be so easy to kind of drift away and get lost. I was definitely grateful to have something so meaty and meaningful to work on during this time.
And there you have it, Grindstone launching on Nintendo Switch this fall. On behalf of the whole Capy team, thanks for watching, and hope to see you on Grindstone Mountain and on the Daily Grind leaderboards.